ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ooh, ain't no love in my man.
I can hear it.
And shoo up, ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ooh, ain't no love in my man. Too sassy, mama
Right here.
Ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ooh, ain't no love in my man.
Why am I not hearing sound? Why am I not hearing audio? This is stupid.
Shoo up, ain't no love in my man. Shoo up,
This is ridiculous. I'm calling something ridiculous right now. Hold on.
Ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ain't no love in my man. Shoo up,
There we go.
ain't no love in my man. Ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ooh, ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ooh, ain't no love in my man. Too sassy, mama jammas. Ain't no love in my man. Shoo up, ain't no love in my man. Shoo up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is episode number 50. It's episode number 50. Did you know that it's episode number 50 today? Did you know that? I don't know if you knew that. I really don't. I just found out like 5 minutes ago, so how could you know? Episode 50 of Primetime with Taff and Phil. Taff has been replaced by a non-talking image of Shrek from the original Shrek movie. So, you know, he's not here. He's busy again. Classic guy. But I will be holding down the ship for episode 50 of Primetime with Taff and Phil. And another week of the NFL is officially in the books, with week 4 coming to its dramatic conclusion between three awful teams and one team that's actually pretty good in the Denver Broncos. But we got to saw the battle of ass between the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets, with the Miami Dolphins prevailing over Justin Fields in his first game back from his concussion. And the Denver Broncos reminded everybody that, yeah, the Bengals are going to need Joe Burrow, whether it's on one leg. They may put him out there on 0 legs. Regardless, they're going to need him moving forward. Jake Browning is not the answer, I'm afraid. He's just not going to be enough. He's not going to be able to continue to carry them moving forward. But 4 weeks in, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of interesting storylines moving forward. We have some fascinating things to talk about that we talk. And the way we're going to do it, the way I'm going to do it today, until hopefully Taff can make his guest cameo appearance, because after he's done with schoolwork and all, is I'm going to go through every single quarterback. I'm going to kind of talk about the teams, talk about my reaction to the most important position, which has been the starting quarterback for each of these teams, and we are going to keep it rolling, so to speak. We're going to see where these teams rank, what the exact what has been going on with these guys overall throughout the season. So let's get started. Let's just jump right in. Let's talk about the big headlines before we do jump to the quarterback tier list. And that ultimately is the devastating injuries to wide receivers Malik Nabers and Tyreek Hill, as we saw, of course, on Sunday. Malik Nabers had torn his ACL on the turf that continues to claim ACLs, that is MetLife Stadium. I am wishing him all the wellness to get better, as well as Tyreek Hill, who, while not affected by turf, I believe Miami does have a grass stadium. It is unfortunate to be seeing that Tyreek Hill has been hurt. He gets hurt ultimately with a dislocated knee. Now, I was looking at this, and I believe that also went along with of course, torn ACL, a bunch of torn ligaments. A lot of that tends to happen when, you dislocate your knee. But overall, it is a brutal loss for the Miami Dolphins, who were already struggling to begin with, as is Malik Nabers for the New York Giants. The shock of this, I know there's a bunch of memes of Tyreek Hill being incredibly optimistic after suffering a dislocated knee. You gotta give the guy credit, but there were a lot of memes saying, like, he's so happy He's not paying with 2. I don't even know why this is... Okay, I'm not touching that. It's just being weird. All right. He's going to constantly be making that noise, and I'm not going to be happy about it. But he was incredibly enthusiastic despite a horrific injury. Maybe because he knows he's still getting the bag. I don't know. But with all due respect, I do hope he gets healthy, he gets ready, and we can see him back on the field. As for what this means for Miami and New York, if you're Cam Scattaboo fantasy owners, if you're Wan'Dale Robinson fantasy owners, if you're Devon Achane or Jalen Waddle or even Darren Waller fantasy owners, then you kind of do win a little bit with these guys, unfortunately, going to have to miss time. Those guys are going to have to those players I mentioned are going to have to step up in their respective offenses and make some plays. But the big headline for me regarding at least the Nabers injury is why on earth are we still doing the whole turf thing? I mean, why? I think it's been pretty clear that almost everybody across a lot of major platforms has said, why? Why are we still running turf? Why are we still utilizing it in the NFL? People have wanted grass fields. That's what they've wanted. They've wanted grass fields overall. Turf has clearly, there is enough statistical evidence to present that yes, when players play on turf, it increases chances of knee injuries, of ankle injuries, of foot injuries, and these players are out sidelined for weeks, sometimes months, and it ultimately makes the game worse. Like you're talking about, and again, they only play 17 games, so missing a game, especially in the NFL, is much more significant than say missing a game in baseball or in basketball. It's just, how is it that it still is not something that the NFL owners have just considered that it's just better? Because I can understand, like, oh, well, you play on turf, the game is faster, we get more points. But if your players are getting hurt, then that's not good either. Like, you should want your superstars to be on the field more. Every single owner should want that. This idea that turf, like, not having turf is going to, like, oh my God, our offense is going to be bad. No, like, offenses are still going to move the ball. There are a lot of factors other than the terrain of the field. Like, there's weather conditions, there's just how good an offense is in general. Like, I don't think it's worth it to keep turf if it's going to lead to this many players constantly having not just injuries, but massive injuries. Like, injuries that are sideline them for the entire year and sometimes even then some. So, I don't know why we still have the turf, especially because when they host the World Cup, FIFA's going to require them to put in grass anyway. And then they're just going to put back the turf. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Just make it grass. And at some point, if I'm a player, and this is a thing that's been going on, especially if I'm a player who's been caught with an injury on turf, I'm going to tell you, look, I want to play on grass, and I'm not going to, I'm sitting out the season, you know, and I'm not going to do it. And I would have, I think that should be the logic of every player. We're going to hold out. Have like a massive holdout. It's happened before when players have wanted change. It's happened before with officials when they've wanted change. I imagine if the players banded together and said, we want this now. We want this badly. This is a non-negotiable thing for us. We need this. We need to have this. And I think NFL owners would probably have to cave at some point. I think if enough players said that, they'd have to cave at some point, because then the NFL would just look like the XFL, and I'm not sure anybody really wants that. So, unless one team takes advantage and just goes on to win like a Super Bowl because all the other teams just don't have all their players. I know it's not realistic because not every player makes like millions of dollars. Some of them just do kind of earn like, you know, better than like some people's salary, but not like millions of dollars to where they can afford to maybe sit out. But I think that's something that the players should at the very least consider. As for the rest of the video, as for the rest of the cast, we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go through all the quarterbacks. I want to rank them. That was just my little rant on, ditch the turf. It's terrible. It's leading to too many injuries. We're going to rank the quarterbacks, how I feel about them this year. And we're going to be we're just going to be rolling through that. So how about let's do this. I don't even think this is an updated tier. This is a weird looking one. I'll just fill in the blanks as I go. I probably should have gotten an actual updated one, but there we go. In tiers from goated, baby goated, solid, I'll say decent, because solid feels more like mid. Decent, mid, bad with some upside, booty cheek, and of course the get well soon category. And talking about that get well soon category, Joe Burrow For the love of God, man. Please get back on the field. I don't understand. And this is just me, right? Like, this is just me saying this overall, right? Like, maybe this isn't something... Here's what I'll say. I don't know who thought Jake Browning was going to be good enough, whether it was the Bengals front office, whether it was Bengals fans. Dead wrong. And I don't want to hear, oh, we played 2 tough defenses. No. Jake Browning's not it. Jake Browning's not the guy. This offense is terrible. It looked atrocious. Like, I'm pissed because this offense actually single-handedly lost me fantasy last week. And not because of players that I have, because of the defense I was playing against in the Denver Broncos. I was playing against a team, 1 sack. They got 1 sack in the game, all of a sudden went from 120, it was like, I was up by like, I think, 0.4, and then I was losing by 0.6, and then Cortland Sutton, who I was also playing against, didn't score any points after that sack, and the Broncos defense didn't give up any points after that. Cincinnati's atrocious. They've scored 13 points in 2 weeks. That's not good. And it's just not. Denver absolutely harassed them. I don't see it getting any better if they continue to start Jake Browning. I think after 2 weeks, that has to be the call. That has to be the alarm going off in your head saying, hey, we need to move off of Browning. We need to bring in somebody that's going to be able to generate more offense than he is. I don't know if that's Russell Wilson. I don't know if that's Jameis Winston. I don't know if that's Kirk Cousins. I don't even know. You could bring in Andy Dalton. You can bring in Andy Dalton for all I care. But you need to bring in somebody. You cannot just sit there idly by and watch the season waste away with Jake Browning staying the starter. I just don't see it as a viable option. As for the get well soon category, interestingly enough, Lamar Jackson. What was Baltimore this past week? Baltimore went in to Kansas City with the expectation that this is going to be a close game, that they're going to battle offensively. The offense looked pretty challenged. I mean, what even was that game? Hold on, I need to pull up numbers from this game because this was not good. Chiefs dominated. Yeah, they were up They were up 20-10, and then they just never really lost control of the game after that. I think Lamar, had multiple turnovers. Patrick Mahomes had his best game of, I'm going to be honest, in a minute. In a minute since I've seen Patrick Mahomes look that good. I'm concerned. If I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, massive concerns. Massive. You don't know how Lamar, I think, is unlikely to go next week against the Texans, right? So you now have a quarterback that is okay. He's not going to be ready to play. Where do you go? Oh, hold on. You know what? I just realized that title. I got to change that title real quick. Give me a second. I'm going to real quick update title because it's season. I'll also delete those because that's a little insensitive. I just realized that the title. Hold on. Let me. Okay, that should fix it. That should look a little bit better. And I hope that is a little bit better. And we're going to update that. Because I realized that I was like, oh, there's no divider. So it looks like, and there were also exclamation points. Like, let's go, Tyreek Hill and Nabers out for the year. No, I obviously want them to get back soon healthy. But Lamar's now out with a hamstring, right? And if I want to double check this, because I believe he's still going to be sidelined likely next week because the way they described the injury, like, he wouldn't have come out if it was really something he could play through. I think it's 2 to 3 weeks, according to the Baltimore Sun and NBC. So 2 to 3 weeks. If we say, so he's likely to miss Houston. So you're starting Cooper Rush. Now, Cooper Rush is not the worst backup quarterback in the world, but it's really weird that Cooper Rush is their backup when I really don't think he fits that style of offense at all. Like, I see why Marcus Mariota is a great backup for Jaden Daniels. I don't see how Cooper Rush fits Lamar's mold. Like, I think Tyler Huntley is maybe a worse quarterback than Cooper Rush, at least in my opinion. But I think one clearly fits the mold of the Baltimore Ravens offense better. And it just seems odd to me that you now have it's Cooper Rush. Like, I don't know. It feels like a weird fit for an offense that is so much Lamar Jackson, or like it's clearly Lamar Jackson or and he's the starting quarterback. So I don't. And then let's see, Ravens schedule. Clickety clickety clack clack clack. Okay, yeah, that's tough because maybe he can get away with not playing the Texans. Like I could maybe. Let me see if this is here. Like yeah. Like maybe I could see like okay, right? Like you're not. Like maybe you don't. Okay, fine. You don't play like the Texans. You don't play the Texans. You can maybe get a win, but that could also be a loss. I mean, if you clearly the Texans would have the quarterback advantage in C.J. Stroud, even though he's struggled this year. And then if he's not available for Rams, that could be 1-5, dead in the face. And like I don't think you win all the rest of your games. I mean, it looks, in all honesty, it looks doable. But like Packers at the end of the year, you get Pittsburgh still twice. I just don't think. They're fortunate that their schedule is easy in comparison to the beginning of the year, but that's a brutal start to have overall, and I don't know what you can be expecting moving forward if you're talking about this team. I just massive concerns overall. I would imagine. I would imagine massive concerns moving forward for Lamar Jackson, for the entirety of the Baltimore Ravens. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good right now. On the other side of the game, Mahomes reminded everybody, yeah, okay, that's him. Mahomes reminded everybody, yeah, let's relax. Kansas City, we were like, oh man, they look like they're cracking. They might miss the playoffs. This team, no. 2 weeks even after the Giants game, people were saying that. After this week, no one's really saying that. And I would even argue, let me look at Kansas City's route the rest of the way too, because, and again, like they're only now, and that's the thing about this division. The reality is nobody in this division is quite ready to win it as much as the Chiefs are. Like I know that's like kind of lame. Of course, the Chiefs are most likely to win it. The reality is the Chiefs have been here. Like I think they once started average. They were like 4-4. They were 500 start one year, and then they just ripped off and didn't lose until the AFC Championship game against the Bengals. When the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. And they don't have it easy. Like they got to play the Bills. Colts are on here. Broncos, Chargers again. Lions are on here. The Jags they play on Monday night, who've been better than a lot of people have thought. I mean, they're gonna be very good. Like they're gonna rip off a lot of wins. They play the Commanders too, assuming Jaden Daniels is healthy. So Chiefs won't have it easy. But again, there's no one quite in the AFC West that's going to win this division as it is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I know the Chargers, but the Chargers lose to the Giants. Like that's the thing. Kansas City didn't, I know Kansas City didn't lose to the Giants, but that's the thing. When you're a team like the Chargers, those are the games that need to be layups. Those need to be freebies because you're not going to get many of those within this division of the AFC West. If you're going to allow Kansas City to continue to leapfrog you and catch up in ground, especially in an area like that, it's not good. It shows weakness. It shows massive weakness, and that's a massive problem. And speaking of Justin Herbert, overall, last week, this is not like a last week thing. This is like overall, he's been, outside of last week, he's up there. Now, he could have been, if they were 4-0, he could be up there in the goated class. But I can't quite do that because you lose to the Giants. You know, Jackson Dart puts the photo of Madison Beer, and all of a sudden, oh, well, that's a problem, right? Like, it's just, you know, at the end of the day, I can't really help you there in that regard. You have to be better than that, and you weren't, and you're not. So I can't help you in regards to that. I don't know why I just flicking. Oops, my bad. I was checking something real quick because I want to make sure we're live. Anyway, my point being is, you can't be playing that way against the Giants again. Like I just said, you cannot allow a team like the Kansas City Chiefs to benefit from those kind of mistakes for your own team. It hasn't been good. But overall, through the first 3 weeks, they still had, obviously, they've beaten everyone in the AFC West, so you could still argue, yep, they're the best team there. But I don't know, man. I think by losing that ground, that's a tough one to let slip by your fingers. And for the other guy in that game, he's not on this list. But if I had to put Jackson Dart in here, I'd probably put decent because I've only seen him one game, right? I've seen one game and he looked good. I think he needed to use his legs a lot overall in that game, which there's nothing wrong with. He's a young quarterback. He's just going to, it's really, especially when you're a young quarterback and you have any form of mobility, it's okay for your first season to mostly be, if your first read isn't there, try to run for the first down, right? And then as you go, you're like, oh, there's my second read, right? Like that's the play as you continue to move. Like, I think because I felt like all of his major highlights I saw him, he was running. Yeah, 13 to 20, 111 yards, a touchdown. Not a bad performance. Honestly, that's a very solid debut against a very solid team. Like, I think the Chargers are still a solid team overall. And apparently Dart's nursing a hamstring? I did not know that. I didn't know he was nursing a hamstring injury. But I guess he's questionable for this coming week, but I'm guessing he's going to play. That would be my guess. Solid start. He's not going to be a gangbusters. He's not going to completely dominate coming out the gate. But he's going to be fine. They're going to get things figured out. And especially because the worst part is now, he's down his best player. Like, he's down his Jamar Chase. He's down his Malik Nabers. You know? He's down his best player. However, there is one man on this list who needs to go in booty cheek. And I feel bad. I really do feel bad that Russell Wilson was bad. So bad that he needed to be benched. However, I still like Russell Wilson. I just do. I don't know what it is. It's not even there's like, oh, I don't know what it is. I know what it is. He was fun to watch. And now that he's not fun to watch, it's sad that he's not fun to watch. But it does bother me how he does get ripped. He's getting ripped for, like, having a couple bad games. And it's not like he even played poorly against Dallas. He was cooking until his last throw, right? But, like, a couple bad games. Like, I've seen Hall of Fame quarterbacks play so much worse than Russell did in those couple games with the Giants. Like, that's just truthful. I've seen Joe Burrow have worse performances. I've seen Josh Allen play like garbage sometimes. You remember Josh Allen's game last year against the Texans? Utter disaster. It was terrible. It was like 9 of 20. It was disgusting. I can't believe they even had a shot to win that game. I've seen Big Ben throw 5 interceptions in a game. Peyton Manning's final year of his career was terrible. So I just think it's weird to see that be the rhetoric over just like 2 or 3 games of Russ in New York. I understand he wasn't great in Denver and he wasn't great in Pittsburgh, but it's not like he was god-awful. He got to the playoffs in Pittsburgh and still had a fairly high passer rating in his second season in Denver once Hackett was out of there. I don't think you can just... It bothers me that Tony Gonzalez and Richard Sherman are acting like he's playing himself out of the Hall of Fame. When, I think some people would even argue that he's not quite a Hall of Famer. I disagree. I think he should be in. That's a whole other conversation. But it bothers me that the standard that you were holding Russell Wilson to at 37, 38 years, I think 36, 37 years old, when we expect quarterbacks to fall off at a certain point. Like, not everyone can be Tom Brady and play till they're 45. It's just not... It's not realistic, especially for a guy who relied significantly more on his athleticism throughout his career. And as that athleticism fades, it happens. I think it's an unrealistic expectation to have happen. So I think it's an unrealistic way to judge him, you know? Let's go to Josh Allen. That's an easy one. Goated. He's been playing out of his mind as well. I don't like the way they kind of... They weren't going to lose the game. I never thought they would. But it does kind of bother me that the game was as close as it was against the New Orleans Saints. Saints had something to play for, sure, yada yada. I'm gonna call cap. I really don't think that that's relevant. They're an awful team. They're in your building. You should demolish them. Like, you should hang 50. Like, it's weird, right? Like, I've seen Detroit do that a lot. Like, I've never seen Detroit have that issue with a bad team outside of their division. Like, when they see a bad team and they come into home, it's like, okay, let's hang at least third. Let's, like, blow these guys out by at least 20 points. That's what they did to Cleveland. Cleveland had a good defense. Cleveland scored first, and after that, it was all Detroit, right? So I can't. It's weird that I don't see that with the Bills as nearly consistently as I see it with a team like the Lions. And that just may be like an indoors thing. I have no idea. But I would say that is sort of kind of been the issue. Moving forward, jeez, they have Mason Rudolph on here instead of Aaron Rodgers. That's kind of hilarious. I'm also gonna make another tier because I realize that some of these guys just straight up haven't played. So I'm gonna add this. I'm just gonna do haven't played, and we're gonna do that. I'm gonna make this one pink because they haven't played. That's Josh. There is Mahomes. Let's see. Ooh. How about the other 4-0 team? Let's go to Philadelphia. This one's interesting. Because I don't think... Philadelphia is 4-0. They're the only other 4-0 team. However, I will make the argument that this is only baby-goated. Because in the last 2 games, Jalen Hurts has disappeared in a grand total of 2 halves. Like, he just has. It's weird. And I'm not saying that like it can't win games, because it clearly is. They are 4-0. But for Jalen Hurts, first half against the Rams looked terrible, atrocious. Second half of this game against Tampa, you almost lose the game. But then those 2 halves in the middle, I mean, nearly flawless play. It's not something like if I'm the Eagles, I can get away with it. I think they can get away with it because they're very talented. But I think of a lot of like even like a team that's like maybe the 11th most talented team in the league does that. They don't get away with that. They probably lose that game, right? So to me, that's a major concern moving forward. If I'm Jalen Hurts, if I'm the Eagles, if I'm anybody, there's a little concern there for me. Where what are we doing, right? Like we need to put together a complete game. I need to see, because they haven't blown anybody out. All their games have come down to 1 possession games, right? They have not necessarily dominated an opponent. And maybe that's just who Philly is. Maybe Philly's not going to dominate you. They'll let you hang around, but they will ultimately win the game. Maybe that's just who they are. But and especially, you need Saquon to start getting going. You need some elements for me to really solidify that you're going to be a Super Bowl team. Because I still think 100% they're the best team in the NFC. They've proven that the last 2 weeks with wins over the Rams and Bucks. However, there is a point where you will need to put it all together into a complete package, and they obviously can. The question is, how soon will they do it? We'll see how they do moving forward, because Week 5 is not going to be easy, too. They got to go to Denver, and that team has a very good pass rush. So we'll see what I believe it's Denver. Let me double. I don't want to misquote that. I feel like that's right, though. Eagles schedule. Yeah. Oh no, they host Denver. Okay, that's not nearly the same thing. They do host Denver, but I mean they're gonna play. They get Detroit later in the year. Jeez, they also get Buffalo. That's gonna be I think a precursor to the playoffs. I think we're gonna really see that's gonna be an interesting matchup, precursor to the playoffs. Like before it's like week 17, so it should be interesting to see that game unfold as well. But we'll see where that goes. I think they'll be fine, obviously, but I think they do need to button things up a little bit to stay securely as the best team in the league right now. Let's hop to their division rival. Jaden Daniels is an interesting case because he's also been hurt. I mean, look at that. Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are all already going to miss time, and we're not even in November or December. We're not even in October. It's not till tomorrow. This one's interesting because I think Jaden Daniels is very important to that team's success. We've seen Marcus Mariota fill that hole pretty well, and this is again. I think Marcus fits that system really well. He's a type of quarterback that can maybe hold the ship for like a game or two. I don't think he can hold it all year, and that's where I think Jaden Daniels needs to get back and get healthy for a couple reasons. Number one, Terry McLaurin, you don't have the chemistry. We haven't seen them have their chemistry yet this year, and that's a concerning point. Overall, like they need to be healthy together. The fact that they aren't is no good. They need to be healthy. They need to be on the same page so they can consistently produce big offense. That was a big part of their offense last year, and we haven't seen it because McLaurin and Jaden Daniels are both out for this game. So we need to see them definitely step up and get into more of a rhythm moving forward, because if they don't, Washington could very possibly have a losing season and regress significantly from last year if they don't figure that out. Speed running a couple. Atlanta. Oof. It's not bad, because most recent efforts say Michael Penix was good. But right now, I gotta go kind of in the middle of the road, because it's so, awful game against Carolina, then exceptional game against Washington, right? So it's kind of right down the middle right now. I don't think he's played the best in the majority of games I have seen him play. I mean, he played well against Tampa, too. I guess really it kind of only is that Carolina game. You know what? I'm going to throw him in decent, but anybody who gets put in is probably going to be ahead of him. He definitely has what it takes. He definitely has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback moving forward. I just do have some concerns. I mean, they just, for whatever reason, Carolina just has Atlanta's number the past couple games. My goodness. Shrek ain't no Penn State logo, Jay. Yeah, he's no Penn State logo. Listen, man. That's not Shrek, man. That's just Taff. He's camera froze. He's been frozen for the last 30 minutes, so that's kind of what's going on there. But that's what's happening overall. But Michael Penix has been, I don't know. I liked him. I like the way he looked against Washington. They finally utilized their pieces. Bijan Robinson, by the way, crazy stat, I think has more receiving yards than a lot of really good receivers. More receiving yards like DK Metcalf, more receiving yards than what is that? Why did it just make that noise? Why did it just do that? I'm about to tweak. I don't know why it just did that. Oh my gosh. But 100% I can't get with this guy. Frozen in the middle of a Jets rant. Exactly. He was ranting about the Jets and he got frozen. So he also got turned into Shrek, you know. that's just the face of anybody. Anytime you mention the Jets, it's just come on, dude. Speaking of that Jets game, I know I already talked about Michael Penix. Let's jump to the Jets. And Fields, I think, been honest, in my opinion, been bad, but with some upside. He played well week 1, week 3, week 4. I don't really feel. I don't think he's been good. I think he's been a first read Andy, first read run it type of guy. They haven't nearly been utilizing Garrett Wilson as much as they have. They have only used him at the end of the game for whatever reason. That's the only time. I guess they're end of the fourth quarter, the game matters now. No, dude, you're already losing. Where was, they gave the ball to Braylon Allen down near the goal line instead of their lead back, and then Braylon Allen fumbles the ball. Wow, what a surprise. The running back that you have ranked lower on the depth chart fumbled near the goal line. It's almost like one of those running backs you have is better than the other. Unbelievable. Tua almost belongs in booty cheek, but I'll say bad with some. Was it? No. He's been too bad. For that. And honestly, Justin Fields has just been closer to mid. I don't think it's been bad with some side. He's just been kind of mediocre. It's just, I haven't seen it. I have not seen what I need to see from Justin Fields. Against Pittsburgh, amazing performance. But if he played Pittsburgh today, I guarantee you that just doesn't happen again. I think he looks more like what he did against the Bills, you know? And I mean, even against Miami, how is it that you're constantly getting taken off the field by a defense that, for lack of a better word, sucks? It's not a good defense. I think that when they lost to the Bills, I didn't expect them to win. The expectation was, they're going to lose. They're going to lose to Buffalo. But on the road against Miami mostly outclassed you for the majority of this game, and you should be on the same playing field. You should be about on the same level. I don't know how they're not, you know? Tua has fallen off, but not WNBA commissioner level fall off. Would she ever? Who's the WNBA commissioner off the top of my head? Jay, because I don't even know if they ever were on anything. In order to fall, you need to have been a higher elevation than you were before. I think they just dug themselves their own hole. You're digging your own grave, man. I don't know. I don't know what else to say outside of that. It just doesn't make sense. They were never up. They were never up. They were always down. As for Tua, booty, man. The expectation is Tua's. People have this idea that Tua's more of like up in the B tier, but according to the expectation of what we have needed, I mean, he's been bad. I guess there have been some better moments. Like, I wouldn't say he's Russell Wilson booty cheek based on what we saw from him, but even Russ had like his moment against Dallas. But then I have to judge that based off, well, everyone's had their moment against Dallas. Dallas has been one of the worst defense. Literally the worst defense. I think it's Dallas has the number 1 ranked defense, or number 1 ranked offense, number 32 ranked defense. Like, it is the Jekyll and Hyde of teams. And speaking of Dak, honestly, Dak has looked phenomenal. I think he's looked great. I know they've only won 1 game, but outside of, like, I guess a bad Bears game, was stunted on Green Bay's defense, had no problem moving it against the Giants, and even in week 1, kept Dallas in it the whole time. Dak looks slimmed down. He looks good to go. Like, this could be, I don't think it's going to be, like, he could, if the Dallas Cowboys are able to string together wins, and let's say somehow, by some miracle, they win 11 games and make the playoffs, Dak Prescott's, like, it feels like Joe Burrow from last year. That's what it feels like. Let me actually look at, hold on, what are stat leaders right now? I'm curious. Let me see what NFL stat leaders are looking like right now, because I think he's got to be up there in passing yards. I know Stafford at one point was leading. Yeah, he's leads the league in passing yards. Oh, by only 5, but like, you know. It's going to be so bright. Like, look at that. You've got Dak at 1. You have Dak at 1, Stafford 2, Daniel Jones at 3, which is insane. Herbert 4, Love at 5 with exactly 1,000. And look at these backs, man. Look at that. Look at also Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then look at Puka Nacua, who's number 1, leading by 100 more yards. That's insane. Quentin Johnston is 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards. 3rd. Nobody saw that coming. Not nobody. Not a single human being on the planet is going to be like, hey, guys, 4 weeks in, Quentin Johnston, top 3 in receiving yards. I bet you $500. And if anybody took that, they're a time traveler. If anybody knew that, time traveler. I mean, crazy. Brian Burns leading the NFL in sacks when normally he only has 8 every year. Every year I'm like, Brian Burns gets 8 sacks. Brian Burns already has 5. What a wild start to the year. And Bijan, look, I'm willing to bet if I go into receiving yardage leaders, like, let me see this real quick. Receiving yardage leaders in ESPN. Where's Bijan? Bijan Robinson is 15th. Ahead of Devontae Adams, Drake London, Cortland Sutton, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase. Ahead of Jamar Chase, a running back. A running back. Oh my God. Unreal, man. Unbelievable stuff. It's just nuts. It's just nuts. It's an evil world we live in. Hold on, let me check real quick. Jay looks good. Jay says Dak looks good, but it's Dak. He always looks good early in the season, then falls off. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, it's going to be Dallas. But I think the reason why I think he'll be good is just because it's out of necessity. The defense is so bad that if Dak ever plays slightly worse, then Dallas is just unwatchable. And I think Dallas will be watchable because Dak will do his thing. He'll probably have bad turnovers. Like, I don't think he won't have bad turnovers, but it's like, you know. I feel like the NFL is pretty fun when Dak plays well, but through 4 weeks, Dak leads the NFL in passing yards. He's got to go and goated. As does, well, actually, no. Jordan Love can go in like, his opponent, Jordan Love, can go in like baby goated. He could have been goated if he had beaten Cleveland. He didn't do that. They choked that game away. And the fact of the matter is, it's still weird to me that Green Bay is 2-1-1. They're supposed to be up there with the big dogs, with the big cats of the jungle, with the big dogs of the pound, and they kind of just feel like the exact same team from last year. I actually thought Jordan Love could be an MVP. It still could happen. A lot would need to happen, but it still could happen. Last night for me, oh my god, what keeps disconnecting? I'm gonna freaking lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my shit. Anyway, pardon my French. I just don't see. I can't put him in goated, just because for Green Bay it feels odd. They haven't won since week 2. That's a true statement. They've technically not won 2 games in a row. And they almost lost in Dallas. Like, I don't know what they were doing trying to take a shot to the end zone that had no chance. They could have lost that game. They throw a pick there. Oh, you lose. That being said, though, Jordan Love maybe could still be an MVP. They need to have a lot go right. I think they need to basically win. They could only probably be afforded to lose one more game, and then Jordan Love would need to lead the NFL in some category. But hey, he's better than decent. He's just not goated, based on what we have seen to start the year. Oh my god. And then like everyone else here is just in an odd category. Oh, here we go. Easy one. Booty cheek. Geno has been the complete raw definition of booty cheek. Already 2 games with 3 interceptions. And I understand the offensive line is bad. I do not care. Learn that Brock Bowers is on your roster. You have Brock Bowers on your roster, and you never throw him the ball. He had like 1 catch for the majority of the Bears game. What are we doing? Why? Was your leading receiver, was your top target last year? Where else was the ball going? Geno Smith, where's the ball going? To who? Bears defenders? Because that's where it went this past weekend. It went to them 3 times. It went to Kevin Byard twice before it went to Brock Bowers once. How? It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing thing that these Seahawks quarterbacks have been so bad. Right? And the only one that's been good right now is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's the only one that's good. And speaking of Darnold, hot take, baby goated. I'm going to sound like Colin Cowherd, but I am a stand for Sam. I'm a stand for Sam, man. I like him, okay? I especially like him now that he's off the Jets, because now he's actually good. I watched that Thursday night game. I'm like, oh, man, Cardinals are going to win. Sam Darnold's going to make an error. I knew it. Arizona was going to just somehow beat Seattle. Nope. Beautiful rainbow. Drop it in the bucket to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Set up the game-winning field goal. That's a quarterback that will win you games. That is not a guy that's going to lose you games. In the past, maybe a guy who loses you games. Now, a guy who wins you games. And again, probably for the second time in a row, Seattle has chosen the perfect time to move off their quarterback. They moved off Russell Wilson at the perfect time. They have now moved off Brock Bowers. I'm still pissed that Brock Bowers is in my head. I need him to get in the end zone. But they moved off Russ at the perfect time. They moved off Geno at the perfect time. And they bring in Sam at just the right time. Seattle won 10 games last year. I think that's something that people kind of forget. They won 10 games with Geno last year. They could still win 10, 11 games with Sam Darnold and make a playoff run. Brock Bowers must be John Cena. QPs can't see him. Dude. Ugh. That pains me. It strangles me. It makes me so angry that they ain't seeing it. The other by the way, Jay, I don't know if you've heard of this show called Peacemaker. John Cena is in it, or maybe he's not. I don't know. I've been trying. I keep hearing that John Cena's in it, but I really don't see him in there. So you got it. It's a pretty good show. They just dropped their second season. Some wild stuff. That's all I'll say without getting into spoilers. But an amazing show. In fact, the newest Instagram post hopefully gets onto YouTube and TikTok. I don't know what stuff will be approved on there regarding making stuff. I know Instagram's pretty lean, but I'm gonna be posting something on Instagram tonight. It's gonna be using a song from the show, so pretty cool stuff. Little Instagram edit for one of the quarterbacks that I've already ranked. So, take guesses at who it is, and then if you guess right, maybe I'll let some info sneak out. But it's one of these guys. I will say that much. Peacemaker's awesome. Love it. Yes, it is an amazing show, and I love the intro. Dude, I've seen all the intro memes too. It's great. And the Chad Power Show. Oh shoot, I forgot about the Chad Power Show. I've been seeing that. I'm interested to check it. Who's the main? Why do I not? I don't vaguely remember the main actor. Hold on, I'm gonna switch over here just so I don't mess up all my search history. Chad. I was gonna look up the cast because off the top of my head, yeah, it was Glenn Powell. That's what I was thinking of. Yo, do you know who's in the Chad Powers show? The man who plays the dad on Diary of a Wimpy Kid, my goat, Steve Zahn. Let's go. The goat. He's so goated. What an amazing plot twist. Now I have to watch it. I have to watch it just for Steve Zahn. I knew I wasn't. Everyone acted like I was losing my mind. Incredible stuff. Oh my goodness, incredible stuff. Amazing. 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 He's the head coach. It's even better. Oh my gosh, I need to go watch it. I'm gonna go watch it so I can get all the memes ahead of time, just so I could get them and use them. I gotta get ahead of the curve. Oh my gosh, I gotta re-kilter. Back to Sam. As I was saying, Sam. I'm a Sam stan, and Sam's been good in Seattle. Kyler Murray, on the other hand, makes me want to blow my brains out. Kyler Murray is constantly playing Call of Duty and not playing football. Play Madden at least, man. Like, I come on. What are we doing? I have not seen a take on Kyler Murray outside of this because it's so obvious. The Cardinals are just waiting for that contract to be over because no one wants him. That has to be it. I don't think he fits anywhere else because he's small and undersized and has already tore his ACL. Like, it just doesn't work. They need him out of there. Jared Goff, baby goated. Oh, baby goated. I'll put Jared Goff in that baby goated combo. I'll put some Jared Goff up in that baby goated combo. I will put Joe Flacco in booty cheek because he's been bad. That's just the way I roll. Joe Flacco has been playing well. Jared Goff, I've said in the past that he's like Tim Duncan, but he's not. That's not accurate. Jared Goff is not Tim Duncan. Jared Goff is like... I don't know who Jared Goff is like, actually. I don't know what the NBA comparison is to Jared Goff. Because he's... You know what? Here it is. You know what the NBA comparison? Jared Goff is Devin Booker. I think that's why I like him. Basically the same guy. They both got into a championship. They both got unfortunately crushed by someone that was just better than them, and they've just been struggling to make it back since. I think Jared Goff's in a much better situation than Devin Booker, but to each their own. That's who Goff is to me, and I like Goff. But I wish honestly, when Aaron Rodgers ends the season, I'll send a trade package for Goff and say, Lions, go draft a quarterback. We'll take Goff for now. And again, like the week 1 overreaction, like, man, the Lions are going to be cooked without their coordinators. Dude, propaganda. That is Jason McIntyre propaganda, and I couldn't believe he got away with it. I couldn't believe he was a winner in week 1. And then the last 3 weeks have just been, oh yeah, no, that's not what's happening. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still there. Jahmyr Gibbs is still there. David Montgomery's still there. And most importantly, Jared Goff is still there. Okay? They're cooking. With all due respect, they are cooking. What the heck? Okay, I don't know what that was. And then Joe Flacco's been bad. Here's the real question. Chat, I need some answers here. When does Joe Flacco finally get benched? When do the Browns say enough is enough and they play? I don't know if they'll play Gabriel or Shador. It'll probably be Shador. But when will enough be enough for Cleveland after what we just witnessed in Detroit? Because I gotta tell you, it was not good. I think especially the win against the Packers probably buys him a little more time. But he's gotta be cooked soon, right? Like, his goose has to be cooked soon. I just can't imagine it lasts much longer. Joe Flacco, you gotta go, buddy. It's just been bad. It's not been good. It's been bad. And speaking of bad, you guys let me know, though. You guys let me know, when does Joe Flacco get benched? I've heard week 8. I've heard week 8 is like the general time, but I don't know what game that is. They play the Vikings. I believe they play Minnesota next, so we'll see if they're able to beat Carson Wentz and or J.J. McCarthy, whoever plays. Speaking of J.J. McCarthy, get well soon, I guess. But honestly, are the Vikings maybe better with Carson Wentz? There's a chance. There's a chance to make that argument. I won't. I think they're about the same, but I don't know. I just don't know. Because Carson Wentz struggled mightily in that first half. I think part of it is just because their offensive line was just missing a bunch of starters in that game. But I don't know, man. I think Carson Wentz is more ready to win games right now than J.J. McCarthy is. As for... oh, wait. This is Anthony Richardson. Well, he hasn't played, so... Sadly, that's crazy. This is also like who they projected to start the year, and they had Anthony Richardson to being the projected starter, and he didn't even get there. Shao hasn't played either, so we'll put him in the bottom. Don't really have. Although, what I will say is that Rattler also sucks, so hopefully they start Shao soon. Cam Ward. Boop. And it's not his fault that he's been bad. It's the product of Tennessee has turned their entire receiving core into a retirement home for guys like Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett. I know there's Io Manor. He's been good. However, that is not nearly enough for what is also a bad offensive line and a mediocre to bad backfield and not really much on the defensive side either. It's just a bad, stinky, no good team. He's bad. But he's shown some upside. Like, he's done this multiple times where he's scrambled out to his right, thrown back across his left, and has the arm strength to get it over there. So I'll give Cam Ward his credit in regards to that. And also, guys, I'm in the middle of this. Happy International Podcast Day. I didn't actually know it was a thing. When I found out Taff wasn't going to be here, I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it. But you know what? I had to. I had to for International Podcast Day because I'm someone who's locked in. I'm someone who's loaded. I'm not actually loaded. I'm just locked in. I'm not loaded yet, but I am locked in. Mason Rudolph hasn't played. Another one that hasn't played. But how was Aaron Rodgers against the Minnesota Vikings? How was he? I'll tell you how he was. He was goated. He was amazing. And I'm gonna go big screen for this because I need you guys to understand this. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers offense have figured it out. They ran the ball so well with Kenneth Gainwell. I saw Jalen Warren was out for that game. I said, oh, no offense. Here it comes. And DK Metcalf caught that pass from Aaron Rodgers and took it 80 yards to the house. And I said, honestly, I dropped to my knees. I dropped to my knees. I dropped to my knees. I got up. I started dancing and frolicking around. It was majestic. And I know they almost threw the game away, but the offense had figured it out. The offense was able to move the ball. They looked majestic. They looked like a Pegasus. They looked incredible. They finally looked watchable for the first time in a long time. And oh, sweet baby Jesus, I am so happy. I am so happy. And now we get a bye. We get to rest up. I don't have to be mad for at least 2 weeks. I don't have to be mad for at least 2 weeks. There's no risk of me getting upset of my team losing for at least another week. You know what? I can go into it because if they had lost, then I'd be mad for 2 weeks. But now I get to be happy for 2 weeks because our last game was a win. So that is pretty darn awesome. I'm gonna finish ranking up these quarterbacks. It's almost 8 o'clock. I gotta get some food in my belly. I gotta get some YouTube going so I can eat my food because I can't eat my food without a YouTube video. So that's the reality there. Moving along, let's speed run. Let's do some quickly. Bryce Young, terrible. I don't understand. As much as I want him to be good, he keeps getting so much benefit of the doubt type situation. He's been bad. When you're a number 1 overall pick, you need to help. I understand that you need to help your number 1 overall pick, but your number 1 overall pick also has to help you and elevate your team. He has not done that. Booty cheek. Next, Drake May. Decent. I'm not going to say baby goated yet because it was Carolina, and they had their struggles against Pittsburgh the previous week, but decent for the most part. He is definitely showing he is taking progressive steps ahead, which is what you need to do as a second-year quarterback, show that you have improved, show that you are getting better, and Drake May has shown that he's getting better, very similar steps to Michael Penix. Caleb Williams, I will also put in that decent category. They're all improving over the season. They're all starting to make strides towards getting better, and that is huge. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 second-year quarterbacks starting to make significant strides moving forward as they continue to progress. And that is huge for all 3 of those guys. That's just huge for the NFL to have 3 young guys improving like that. And you could even say the same for Bo Nix. That makes 4. And then, of course, Jaden Daniels just needs to get healthy. But I'm excited to see all 4 of these guys develop, and then Jaden Daniels come back. We're going to have a nice young cast of quarterbacks competing, hopefully for years. That's what I'm hoping. It's like the next kind of generation of quarterbacks. Little like next Gen Alpha's quarterbacks, whatever. But Bo Nix also, it was a bad Cincinnati Bengals defense, but he did dominate them. So you got to give him credit for doing that. Trevor Lawrence, also kind of in this tier. Also feels like he's kind of in this tier where he hasn't been perfect. He's made his fair share of mistakes, but they are 3-1. That Jags defense has forced 3 turnovers in 4 straight weeks. Jags could still win the AFC South, very much so. And I would also have Daniel Jones and probably like baby goated just if you're curious. I would probably put Daniel Jones in BG, baby goat. Stafford though, goated, second in passing yards. I think the only reason the Rams have any wins to begin, like, he is the man. He is the man. I've always said this. I think Matthew Stafford is pretty much the last of like the true pocket passers from like the era of and that are still playing at like an incredibly high level. Aaron Rodgers playing better than expected, but Stafford's still playing at like an elite level. I'm telling you, man, with every game, I feel like he just gets a little bit closer to that Hall of Fame status. Doesn't detract from it. TJ Stroud, the answer's been kind of mid, gonna be honest. Same with Brock Purdy too. Both of them have not really lived up to what we expect out of them at this point in their careers, and especially for Brock Purdy, what we expect out of his contract. He needs to play, gonna have to play significantly better, and gonna have to just stay healthy overall. It's just not a good look for Stroud and Brock Purdy at this current moment in time. And then finally, Baker, get on in there. My glorious king, Baker Mayfield, get on in there. 3-1, it should be 4-0. Game fought a feisty attempt to come from behind and beat the defending Super Bowl champs, but I'm afraid wasn't able to do it, but he's still goated to me. Right now, that's the list. That is the list. Week 4 is going... Week 4 is going to be interesting. And you know what? Let me do a quick rundown of games. I know I'm going to do it Thursday, so I'm going to do a rundown of the games Thursday night. So be here for that, if you guys want to be here for that. But I will say... Let me actually look. Yes, still have Steve Zanna, NFL Week 5. We have an interesting slate, so let me pull this over so we can just take a look at some of the exciting games. 49ers-Rams Thursday night. Big game for the division. Both teams sitting at 3-1. Oh, shoot. Dang it. I just adjusted it to the other side. There we go. Browns and Vikings over. Is this in, I don't know if this is like, I think this is London, not Ireland, but it's still over in the UK. The game's at 9:30. Cowboys Jets. That would be funny if that's actually the Jets' first win, because I mean, the Jets beating the Cowboys, people just would laugh at the Cowboys all day. Saints Giants. Colts Raiders. Maybe Brock Bowers finally gets going. I really hope so. Panthers Dolphins, another stink fest. Lovely. Eagles Broncos should be good. Ravens Texans will be interesting if Lamar doesn't go. Texans could potentially get the win there. Cardinals Titans, battle of mass. I'm going to call it mass because the battle of mid with the Cardinals, but also booty cheek with the Titans. Seahawks Bucks is actually a sneaky good game. Lions, they might put up 80 points against that Bengals defense, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully Jaden Daniels is back for this one. This one should be a good one. And then the Bills are debuting their rivalry jerseys on Sunday night, I heard. So that's going to be a good one just to at least get to see those new unis in action. And we'll see how legit the Jaguars are as they take on the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night. And then, of course, I think some teams are on bye from what I'm looking at. It looks like Steelers. I know Steelers are on bye for sure. I think Green Bay is on a bye. That might be it. No, there's two more teams. Two Falcons look like they're on a bye week. And Bears? Bears are on a bye. Bears, Falcons, Packers, Steelers are all on bye week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay. If the Jets win that game, Taff will smoke a whole pack of Newports at once. I'll put him up to that. I'll say if he wins the game, he's got a whole pack of Newports, and if they lose the game, he's got it down a whole pack of Marlboro Reds. Either way, it's gonna be quite a bit of nicotine. But I'll be here on Thursday for another free refill, just to go into my thoughts on the games, give my thoughts ahead of time more specifically. In the meantime, thank you for being here for episode 50 of Primetime with Taff and Phil. I guess Shrek is part of the crew now too. Primetime with Taff, Phil, and Shrek. You love to see it. You love to see some Primetime with Taff, Phil, and Shrek. We haven't been able to do our weekend shows. That has also been a scheduling conflict at the moment, but we are planning to go for Saturday and Sunday. This weekend as well. So Thursday I'll be around, and then Saturday and Sunday we're gonna have, our like more formal pregame is gonna be Saturday evening, and then Sunday morning at around 11 we're gonna be getting in here, placing our parlays, putting some bets down, and that looks like that's gonna be what that's gonna be. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you got that bell notification on. Smash that like button because I know you like this content. I know you like that I'm here. I know that you like it. And I do appreciate you guys are here liking it. You know, simple little button press. Pretty cool. But I'm going to go eat some dinner. I am hungry. I am starving. I am famished. I'm probably going to crack open a beer. It was a long day for me at work as well. So that is what I'm going to do. Y'all have a good night. Jay, good stuff, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Jay. And have a good evening. Stay strong. Brush your teeth. And, I don't know. Your lucky number is 76. Yeah, you guys thought I was going to say 6-7. You're wrong. 7.